Can I see some ID? I want to see some ID. Come on. Huh. I guess I would assume. I guess you can record it and you can.
Yeah. There you go. I'm not going to open it because I think we're live on Facebook, and that would be a stupid move. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Ballcaps and Bagpipes. I am John of the Glasgow Comets, single A first baseman, and here's my podcast partner.
You have the passport to prove that you're John. So, and I'm Jason Derr, former league president and Baseball Scotland Hall of Famer. And yep, there's the passport. And excited to be here tonight because you're going to cover some new stuff, and I'm going to cover some old stuff. And this is right in my wheelhouse. So this is a good one.
We are going to take a trip into the olden times. Fortunately, I know somebody who's been here since then, Mr. Derr there, former league president of the Elite Baseball Scotland, former Edinburgh Cannon, and current and forever Baseball Scotland Hall of Famer, the proprietor of DugoutClassics.com. We're going to talk this past Sunday's games. We're going to talk this coming Sunday's games. We're going to talk the All Star Game because that is tonight, as we are talking. It's probably 4 hours away, and we are going to talk about a wee bit of Scottish baseball history. What say we get started with a recap of this past Sunday's games, Jason?
Great. What do you know? Tell me about it. You had a wild weekend. You tell me what you know.
Yeah, I had a pretty busy one. So our Glasgow Comets went over to Tayport. It's our first ever league game against Tayport. Obviously, our first ever competitive game at their field. It's my first time ever visiting Tom Waddle Memorial Field. It's easily, and I'm not saying this with even a hint of hyperbole, for me it is comfortably the most beautiful ballpark in all of Scottish baseball. I think Jason West and his team have done an absolutely tremendous job putting that place together. It feels like a proper baseball field. It's got a backstop. It's got like dugout baselines. It's got a proper mound. It feels like a ballpark in a way that very few places in Scotland do. And the scenery. I mean, the scenery is, it's the coast of Fife. So it's absolutely stunning. To be there this past Sunday was such a pleasure, and it helps that Jason and his club are so welcoming as well. They're such a nice bunch. Overall, one of the some of the most. I mean, I had mentioned last week that the week before against the Galaxy, last week's game was probably the best and most exciting game of baseball I've been involved with. In terms of a day out at the ballpark, this one has to be right up there. We had the Comets and Tayport played obviously a development game, which I played in as the first baseman. And I got in my first AAA action of the year as well, as the Glasgow Comets ran out 15-9 winners over the Tayport Breakers. Overall, a great performance offensively, I think, by both teams. Tayport, I was surprised by Tayport, to be honest. They're making a lot of really good, solid contact. There's nothing immediately wrong with their fundamentals in terms of their fielding and stuff like that. It just feels like they should have a better record than they have. And I've said this, I don't know how many times now, but it is only a matter of time before they start to click and turn things around. Overall, a very good and entertaining game of baseball. I had a really big day, probably my best offensive day ever as a baseball player. I'm very proud to say in the development game I went 1 for 1 with an RBI single and a walk. And in the AAA game, which I came into midway through, I was 3 for 3 with another walk and another 2 runs batted in, plus 2 stolen bases. So
I
felt pretty great afterwards, man. And I feel like this team, this Comets team, and I've said a lot about I've spoken at quite a bit of length with you, and I've mentioned in the past on the podcast the affinity that I feel for the 2014 Comets team, the original season. I've begun to feel this current group is right up there with that team feeling and that team chemistry. And like we touched on last week, there's not just the kind of Comets chemistry, but also there's the separate chemistry with the development guys and also the AAA guys, and then there's the overarching kind of club identity that we have. Just a great a great group of players to play alongside, and it was good to get another win on the board. But again, Tayport, great hosts, a really solid team. It's only a matter of time before they start to win ball games.
And you had a minor celebrity there, somebody that's actually been on a Trivial Pursuit card.
We did, yeah. He's been on a Trivial Pursuit card, and more importantly, he has been on the hit podcast Ballcaps and Bagpipes as part of the NLB MR coverage. I had the distinct pleasure of meeting Big Andrew Brown at the weekend. Andy Brown, and Andy B is an artist on Twitter. If you want to check out his work, which would include now the ballpark from Sunday, he live painted the game. It was an absolute pleasure meeting Andy and his lovely mum Moira, who's up with him for the game. Just a great guy. It's always, they always say don't meet your heroes and stuff like that, and like you never know how it's going to be when you meet someone that you've seen on TV or that you've interacted with only from afar. But meeting him in person, he's such a warm and such a lovely person that it was just an absolute pleasure. And the work that he did while he was there was absolutely top notch. I can't wait to get hold of a print. You can see the finished design, like I say, at his Twitter. So I would recommend anyone watching or listening to check that out. It was just overall, like I say, an amazing day at the ballpark.
Nice one. Like I said, it's always nice to be involved in these projects where you meet people like Andy. He's also on the board for the Josh Gibson Foundation thing we're running. And we can touch on that a little bit there. So it's nice to be running the same circles. If I had the time, I would love to meet him. Maybe one of these days he'll come to Glasgow and Edinburgh, and it's a much shorter trip for me. Not that Tayport's that far, but it'd be good to get him up there and actually have a nice chat with him. So, someone who actually is fairly visible within the MLB community over here.
So in talking with him, it does seem like that is his plan, is to come back at some point when he's got the time and the opportunity to do so. So I think he will eventually come to either Glasgow, Edinburgh, or both possibly. So it's only a matter of time, I think, before we see Andy back at Scottish ballparks. He was very happy with the experience of getting to paint the Oilers field last weekend, and this past weekend being in Tayport. He really seemed to enjoy himself. So I think we'll see him back, and I would love to see him again. It was like I say, an absolute gem. And
I believe you can get prints from him as well. Eventually, this painting is going to turn into a print, right?
Yes, yeah. Like I say, if you check his Twitter at Andy B as an artist, there should be details there for how to pre-order a print. Like I say, I'm going to get one. It's.
Did you ask him to paint you into the painting?
No, I didn't. No, I managed to restrain myself from. I'm not a complete egomaniac.
You could have just pointed. So that's me, right? Yeah, that's you. Okay, that's.
Just put a big G above that guy's head. That's John.
You can tell your wee man that was you. So.
Of course, yeah. I'll be telling everybody, right? This is me. This is actually me.
Exactly. So.
Yeah, they'll be like, that's way too thin to be you. I'll be like, you're right. Okay, I admit it. So let's move on from that game. Like I say, great day at the ballpark. Lovely to meet Andy. Good to get another win, and great to play with the Breakers and meet Jason West. Oh, one other thing actually before we do move on. Thomas Haywood, recent guest of the show, was the home plate umpire on Sunday. So it was excellent seeing Thomas as well. So yeah, he was on the call behind the plate.
Uh-huh. And did he throw you out? Did you cross that line? We talked about where the line was. So did you push that?
I've never been chucked out of a game in my life, Jason. You know I'm way too well behaved for
that. Yeah, I'm an umpire one of the games you're playing in now.
Right, so let's move on to what I think was probably the surprise of the weekend. Back in Glasgow, the Galaxy hosted the Edinburgh Cannons, and the Cannons won 8-0, which was a surprising result for me. Obviously, we've seen the Cannons after a lot of hype before the season struggle a couple of times in the derbies with the Devils. But for them to manage to blank that lineup that the Galaxy have, quite an achievement. Very well done to them, and a surprising result, I think.
Yeah, I said I didn't get the game report. That was my bad. I was busy with kids all day long, so I would love to hear more about who pitched and who the key players in that game. A shutout in Scottish baseball doesn't happen very often. So, it must have been a very well pitched game because, there's been a lot of, 2-3, 3-4 games, and most of they're more 10-8 than anything else. So a shutout is going to be a pretty good game.
Yeah, 8-0. Let's be honest. I mean, 8-0 is a low-scoring game in Scotland. You would normally expect 8 runs between the two teams in the first couple of innings.
I was going to say, it was a 3-inning game, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, our 2-inning game in the development game back in Tayport was like 7-5. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's so unusual to get one, like you say, a shutout, and two, such a low-scoring game. So it's obviously been a very well-played game overall. But it looks like the Cannons have been able to find a couple of innings where they connected with the hits that came up big. A big result for them, I think, one that could kickstart their season. And for the Galaxy, I think they've got to be disappointed being at home and being blanked by the Cannons.
Well, we'll get more information. We'll get it out to you. That was my fault for not chasing it up. All I can say is I have small children running around on summer break, so my free time is non-existent.
I mean, the Baseball Scotland website, I think, is going through some kind of admin changes and stuff like that, and they're still catching up with this sort of schedule and stuff like that. So it's not actually up to date yet. It hasn't been updated this season yet. So, and we rely quite heavily on the website, I think, historically. So we're just kind of having to glean what we can from posts on Facebook, which in our league it's not always the most consistent. Not every team has the time or the
resources,
to be putting out posts every week. So we just kind of go off of what we get. Sometimes the most that you'll get is the final score. Obviously, games I'm playing in, I can give a wee bit more on, and any games that you go to, you usually have your back to, as we found out last week.
Yes, exactly. So all 4th of July, the back to the game. So it's the same thing. I still have pictures from the week before that haven't even put up yet. So eventually I will populate our Instagram account with a ton of pictures from that. And of course, if you have any pictures from any of the games, please do tag us and we will share them there, because we do have we have a lot of people here in Scotland that are obviously interested in the week in, week out stuff. We do actually have a lot of people in the States that are following us and really interested to hear about baseball in Scotland. And a lot of people are very passionate to go, oh my gosh, these guys are playing for the love of the game. So please do tag us to anything, and we'll definitely share it with our friends back in the States. I should say North America. So I shouldn't say the States, because we do have some Canadian followers too.
Typical Yank, is it, aren't you? Typical Yank.
I think it's just I don't know. I'm tired, so I'm not thinking those ones through. I'll be honest. I'm tired.
Yeah. No, that's perfectly reasonable. Like he says, guys, he's been run off his feet these last couple of weeks. I mean, you've got, obviously, the man cave is still being pieced back together.
It's not as stinky as before. It is dried out a little bit.
That's good. I'm glad to hear it.
It was pretty rough last week. This week is not so bad. I guess the hot weather is helping, so I can keep the door open and kind of air it out there. And the only thing that didn't survive overall now is just the baseball cards, which wasn't a huge loss. And I'm more gutted about the box they were in, because that's harder to come by than the baseball cards.
How are you getting on without the label printer?
It worked. It dried out and it works again.
Oh, nice. That's kind of like when my PlayStation 3 came back from the dead.
So, yeah. Go ahead, tell your story.
Yeah, one day I was watching X-Files and I poured a bottle of Pepsi all over my PlayStation 3 and it died and stopped working. And I was like, shit, I've just destroyed my PlayStation 3. But then like 3 days later, I tried it and it came on and it's been fine ever since.
So it's being held together by Pepsi now.
My PlayStation 3 is Jesus Christ. That's the only it's the only logical conclusion.
You know what? I get, when I first pulled it out, it got power to it, so I kind of kept it for a while on the hope that maybe it would dry out. It did. Of course, it didn't help me writing out about 50 labels before that, so I could send out all my orders that had just came in. But everything's got a label again. I'm quite happy about it. It makes my life so much simpler for all these orders, especially with all these Project 70 cards I'm selling. I'm selling. Yes. Like 100 of these are coming in every month. So luckily, a lot of people buy a couple of them and start helping out. But when I get a lot of single orders, it is a pain in the butt to write everything out there. And I've got to give it to the postie, and he's got to interpret my writing. And I've not written in 3 years as a stay-at-home parent. So, to give you an example, I wrote one note. Lisa asked if Dahlia had wrote that note because the writing was so bad.
He's also very old. He struggles to hold a pen.
I'm going to wear my D-backs jersey again for the rest of our shows.
Now, Jason, a couple of comments to quickly jump to.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Convoy has said that Shihao Harris Yin pitched the shutout in Glasgow.
Wow.
So massive congrats to Harris. I don't know how long Harris has been playing. It's not a name that I immediately recognise, but I hope he's aware of what that means. The achievement that he's just accomplished, because that team, the Galaxy, have been by far the best team in Scottish baseball for years. So to be able to blank that lineup is quite an achievement. So well done, Harris. Also got a wee comment from Tayport. Always welcome. It was a fun day. I couldn't agree more than I do, to be honest with that. It was great. We have one more game to get to, and I believe it was the game in Edinburgh. This would be the Edinburgh Diamond Devils, who continued their excellent early season offensive form with a 14-4 victory over the Oilers. Did you get down to the game this past weekend?
No, I did not get down to the game.
No.
No.
You've made your...
you wait till your son is 6 years old and you have nothing but playing it on the weekends.
Yeah. You've fulfilled your obligations for the year. You've appeared for July the 4th and gotten your legs out for the
No. We'll get down to another game there. I can't remember what I did yesterday, let alone Sunday. So yeah. But yes, we'll get down there. We'll get some more of the games in there. So it's family day. It's usually what it is. So
yeah, just let me 1 second get up my messenger here, because one of my fine teammates, Andy Vaughan, has very meticulously gone through each of the team's social media pages and managed to put together something resembling the league standings. So if you just bear with me, I'm going to get that up just now. This is where we should have a commercial sponsor, isn't it? Like, while John struggles for his picture here.
Go to dugoutclassics.com.
There you go, yeah.
Europe's finest supplier of vintage baseball uniforms.
Wait, no, we need to do a bit where I'll lead into it. So coming up next, we have the Scottish National League standings brought to you by Andy Vaughan. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Yes, dugoutclassics.com, the largest supplier of vintage uniforms in the universe. And in Europe, get all your vintage needs at dugoutclassics.com. There we go.
There we go. Just the perfect timing as well, because I think that's me just found it.
That was a pretty bad radio voice. I'll have to admit that one.
So on top, you have your Glasgow Comets, 4-0. The Edinburgh Devils have played one game more than the Comets. They're at 4-1. So very tight at the top. Edinburgh Diamond Devils in second place there. Behind them, on matching 2-2 records, are the Edinburgh Cannons and Granite City Oilers, respectively. So a couple of 500 teams there. In fifth place, you've got the Glasgow Galaxy. They're sitting at 1-3 after 4 ball games. And after week 5, the Breakers are, at the moment, winless in 5. So that's the standings as far as we've been able to put them together. In terms of number of games back and stuff like that, I have absolutely no idea how to work that kind of shit out. So
we'll worry about that later.
That'll just have to wait until the second half, or the website getting updated.
Yeah, we'll figure that out at some point. So
yeah, but another great weekend of Scottish baseball, a full slate. No more, like we said last week, and obviously you don't want to jinx it, but there haven't been any further COVID issues.
No.
So again, massive props to everyone across the league for following the protocols and restrictions, for just being at the games and getting these games in every week. It's good to see the league being so well run.
Not only that, I'm glad to see that they get the game in Edinburgh, because that was a small lake after the floods down there.
Was it really bad? Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was. I mean, I left because the man cave was flooding, and it was already to a small lake. So when you come down from Inverleith Row, the kind of that small hill on the opposite side where left field comes down, there are 2 sewer holes or water drainage holes there, and both of those had popped up. And in the 15-20 minutes ahead, when it was raining, it was starting to reach the tree. That's how flooded it was.
Jeez, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. It was like a small lake out that way. So I know training had been delayed because they wanted to look at it there. So at least it dried out enough that they could get the game in. So props to whoever sorted that one out.
Definitely, yeah. I think all too often it's easy to forget just what goes into making a baseball game happen, and if the slightest thing goes wrong, it can take quite a while and a lot of effort. So whoever's put out the time and the effort to get the field into some kind of playable shape, absolutely 100% applause. That's tremendous.
Okay.
Let us move on to something that I know you're very excited about. You teased it with me just earlier today. I have no idea what's going on. It's important to add that little extra bit there. I don't know what we're gonna talk about here, so this is going to be fun. So it's there was the Tayside Cobras and then 2 covers of a magazine called Play Ball. Why don't you fill us in on exactly what's going on this week?
So I've made a friend on the baseball card group over here named Derr, who is from Detroit. I asked if he knew Wolfie, because if you knew Wolfie from Michigan, you knew Wolfie, which he didn't. But he used to play baseball here in the 80s, early 90s, and he's currently in the process of he just sold his house and he's moving to a new one. And he was digging through his stuff and he found these old play ball issues and from 1991. So there's 2 issues. We have the first issue, the second issue, and then we'll discuss that. And then we have a program from the Tayside Cobras of 92 here. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well there. But so this is back when there was a Scottish League, and this was a fanzine for Scottish baseball and softball, although softball wasn't really there. But I want you to guess how many teams you think there were in Scotland in 1991.
I'm going to guess more than there are now.
That's not that could be a lot, a little.
So,
okay, is that including developmental teams or not? So I want you to give me a number.
Am I including? Is it just baseball or softball and baseball?
It's just the baseball teams here.
Just for baseball, I'm going to say in the region of 24.
24. Wow, that's a big number.
Is it less than that?
It is less than that. There are 9. There are 9 teams there.
Only 9.
Only 9. But hey, that's pretty good. So I'm gonna give you which teams there were. But one of the first thing is the league champions of 1990 were the Kirkcaldy Warriors. Do you know who coached that team?
Possibly Bill the umpire.
No, it was Gordon Dean, aka Wolfie.
Wolfie.
Yep.
Back when Wolfie still had his marbles.
Back when Wolfie still had his marbles. So yes, so there's a nice little article about their 1990 World League champions.
Yep.
And they talk about that, and it's really funny. But yeah, so some of the teams that existed, there's only actually one team that still exists today, and the rest of them are all different teams.
The Edinburgh Diamond Devils.
That's before they changed their name. So originally,
was this when they were the Reapers or the Reavers?
The Reavers, yeah.
Yeah, we had Nick Clark come on and talked about that back then. I don't know if that was, he might have been along a bit later than that, but I remember Nick Clark talking about the change from the Reavers to the Diamond Devils. Was something to do with rugby or American football?
Yeah,
or something
there was
like
a
that.
rugby team that took on the name of the Reavers. So interesting, it wasn't the Edinburgh Reavers, it was the Reavers Edinburgh. And the reason I say that is because the guy who did the magazine was Keith Graham, who I've met once, and I know him by name, and he designed the whole thing there. So I don't think he would have put the names backwards by chance, but that was it. But the coach of the Reavers of Edinburgh was Donald Brochie, who we had the Cup tournament a couple years years ago.
Yeah.
So he was the coach back in 1991 of the Reavers.
Now, did we ever figure out who the hell won that? I remember after it had happened, none of us knew who had won it.
I think everyone was a winner. Where to go with that? Everyone was a winner for that one. But all right.
Welcome to Ballcaps and Bagpipes, the most terrible baseball podcast in Scotland.
Well-researched baseball podcast in Scotland. So there was a team in Glasgow. Do you want to guess what the team name in Glasgow
Glasgow
was?
Stars.
No, it was before the Stars.
It was the Comets then?
No, it was before that.
It was before the Comets?
Yeah.
It's gonna
stump you on that one.
Because I know there was a previous Glasgow Comets, which is where the Comets name now came from. And I think Comets was where Galaxy then came out of.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what. And the Stars, again, they had the Stars.
Glasgow Stars, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that was the Stars existed in 2003, 2004, I want to say.
Oh, yeah, because Gio was part of that team.
Mm-hmm.
So you had the Comets way before that, but then before them there was something else.
Sorry, there was the Comets. My God,
Hey!
there was the Glasgow Comets back then.
Yep.
But there was a second Glasgow team.
I know that there was the Strathclyde Falcons.
Nope, the Strathclyde Falcons did not exist there.
So they don't exist at this point. Glasgow.
Yeah.
Is it something that should be obvious?
No, not at all. No, not at all. I can see how you get the Comets. You go from there.
Yeah.
But
so it's not like the Glasgow Crans or something.
It is the Glasgow Diamonds.
Glasgow Diamonds.
Yep. Yeah, that would have heard of that. There were the Dundee Dodgers, which we've talked
Dundee
about.
Dodgers, yeah.
We've talked about them previously.
Which I believe was quite a force in Scottish baseball once upon a time, am I right?
So it was in the under 12s. So
Yeah.
our under 15s, they had won the national champions in like 97, 98. I don't actually have the exact date of that, but interesting to know how they went there. And then when they grew up to play in the adult leagues, they didn't get the playing time as much, and they've all gone elsewhere. That's why we have Davey Farr to come on, and he can fill that gap for us. He'll be able to tell us a lot of it. Yes. Yeah. So at some point, but so we had the Clydesdale Kestrels. They're based in Lanarkshire.
Yeah, nice.
So somewhere that back then there was the Kestrels.
Maybe in 10, 15 years when I stop playing, I'll revive the Kestrels out here in Lanarkshire and start my own team.
There you go. That would be it. We've talked about the Warriors, obviously with Gordon. Yeah. So and there's So interesting information I just picked up, and I'll talk about that there after I'm done. The Glasgow Diamonds, the Reavers at Edinburgh, the Paisley Saints.
All right, okay. Just like St Mirren. That's probably where they probably get their name from, St Mirren, the football club in Paisley.
But I mean, that would could be. I mean,
yeah.
But there was obviously the Falcons that were there previously, so who knows if they've devolved from that way.
Possibly, yeah.
So the Flinttree Bishop Briggs Braves.
What?
Yep. So yep.
That's as bad as that. That's as bad as that Yankees AAA team, the Scranton / Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders.
Yes, exactly. You just kind of play wherever you feel.
Just call them Scranton. What's wrong with Scranton?
So yes, apparently the Flinttree Bishop Briggs Braves. So they were a team back in the day, and this team I have heard about. And funny enough, there was a movie made about it, or a short clip. I shouldn't say movie. There was I thought there. So there was the West Lothian Wildcats.
West Lothian Wildcats. And where was this clip? Is that something that the audience can find?
So I think I might have it on YouTube. I have.
All right.
I actually want to see if I am. This is trying to see if I can find this. 2 seconds here. So this is going to work really well on the podcast. I'm telling you that right now. But I do have.
We'll just play some elevator music over this part.
So this is called Stealing Second, and it was a video that we shot 4 years ago. I had the DVD kicking about somewhere, and it was a short clip made by a former West Lothian Wildcat, who had drawn inspiration from their team that went like 0-20 that year, and used it to that. And it was a short clip that we're hoping to build into maybe a longer movie. I don't think it ever happened. I'm still in touch with the guy that directed that, but it was shot in Edinburgh over a week, 3 days, 4 days. And there was quite a few of us who volunteered to be part of the cast there. Of course, there was no speaking parts, but I had my film. I wouldn't even say my film debut because I've been in another film. But I had my. I was there on parental leave with Daisy, and it had cast members watching her as I pitched to the guys so they could swing the bat. Yeah. And
if you want Jason there to say one word in a film, you have to stump up.
Yeah. So, and I stick out like a sore thumb because I'm not wearing the same uniform as everyone else. I've got my throwback Tampa Bay Rays one. So you could definitely say I'm not there. But I have fond memories of that because it was on parental leave with Daisy. I had a time off to go do that. And I have the DVD kicking about somewhere. And funny enough, I actually uploaded some of it on YouTube. So maybe we can link to that, or maybe I can ask them to put the whole thing on YouTube. But it was a good time. So the West Lothian Wildcats. But what I was noticing when I was looking at this is there was a team, a women's team known as the Kitty Hawks that played against Aberdeen in 1978.
Called the Kitty Hawks.
The Kitty Hawks. There we go. Didn't realize that. So no one can claim to be the first women's team anymore, because the first women's team was apparently in 1978, and they were the Kitty Hawks.
The Kitty Hawks, yeah.
So we'll have to ask Gordon about that, because he knows about that.
Really? Okay. Yeah, we need to try and get some more info on the Kitty Hawks from Gordon. Kitty Hawks, though.
Yeah. That's it. So that was the first issue of there. So I don't actually know how many there's. I will scan these at some point. I have to go find someone that can actually scan these and talk about it there. And there used to be stores actually had equipment according to the adverts here. And there were some interesting articles about that. They talk about that, they got to recap the scores on who played and whatnot. Again, Scottish baseball scores. So the Reavers played the Diamonds. Final score 24-23. So 30 years later, nothing's changed.
Yeah.
And let's see, is this the one that has it? Yeah, some of the scores: Diamonds 18, Reavers 7, Warriors 31, Wildcats 2, Reavers 29, Kestros 38. I mean, how long did that game take? 29-38.
38-29?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's like a 67-run ball game.
That is definitely a softball score there. So, and then they're promoting the England-Scotland game that was being played in Hull. The 12th of August of 1990. And let me see, I think it's this one. Yes, and they have the final score. Any guess what the final score might have been?
It's not the one that Matt sent us, was it? Because that was from like the 50s or something.
No, that's way ago. This was 1990.
I'm gonna say that Scotland won it, and I'm gonna say that they won it 21-13.
Nope, not even close.
Oh dear.
Final score: England 31, Scotland 1.
So we got cunted, in other words.
It was not a very good game. It was apparently the first ever international game between Scotland and England. So so that was an interesting one there. And but yeah, it was. They were saying that it was quite disappointing to see the final score of that. Yeah. But hey, you know what? There's always been a lot of talent down there as well too. So I there's a bigger pool of talent to pull for. And so so that was interesting. 1990, we had the first international game between England and Scotland.
That's all right. We beat them in the Euros.
There you go.
Not personally on the park, but we beat them eventually via Italy.
So then I've got the official program. Now it's got the Comets. Funny enough, I've got the logo of the original Glasgow Comets, which I'll have to get you a photo of that there.
Yeah,
and it must have been
similar?
Pretty much. There's obviously no G. It's got a nice little script, Glasgow on it, on a diamond with a comet with a ball in it. I mean, this was somebody who had to hand draw this in 1991, so that you couldn't do a whole lot with it. But it's a official program of the Tayside Cobras, and it is the Fair City Baseball Tournament that happened in Sunday, the 28th of June, 1992, in Perth. So there was clearly some interest of people playing baseball in Perth, or it was at least held there to draw interest there. So a 3-team tournament. Funny enough, there was actually, it looks like a baseball shop or a shop in Perth that actually had baseball equipment there.
Wow. You
would actually get baseball shoes there. Imagine that. We can't even get baseball shoes now here.
Oh God, that reminds me.
Whose shoes fell apart during the game? Because that's happened before too.
So at one point during the AAA game, when I was in the game, my boot went from being like this to being like this.
Yeah.
And I was running around with this boot flopping off. So I had to change back into just my trainers. That was oh dear. I also almost broke my nose with a baseball bat as well. So one of my teammates, David, in the Dev game, threw a walk, and when he chucked his bat over, it came toward me, and I kind of held my hands out to try and block it from hitting me. And the way that I put my hands out, my hand hit the bat on the way back, and I basically threw it right into my nose, the bridge of my nose. So that happened, and I also couldn't see out my right eye for most of the day because of a fly. So it was quite an adventurous Sunday.
So if you're listening on the podcast, it looks like John has gone 5 rounds with Mike Tyson now. So it's no, he's actually all right. But
I mean, I'm flattered you think I could go 5 rounds with Tyson. But
I think you could run around a ring for at least 3 minutes for 5 rounds.
I would be lucky to last 3 seconds with Mike Tyson in a boxing ring. I would never enter a boxing ring with Mike Tyson or any professional fighter. I do not like to get hit.
As I said, you could run around for 3 minutes, you'd be fine, you know. Anyway, yeah, no, you're absolutely fine. So yeah, so that was all. That was it. There, it was just kind of on the backside of this. It talks about the Tayside Cobras fixtures for the '92 season, and it's just a nice piece of history that I didn't know existed because this would have been somebody had published this. Keith Graham obviously published this. I'll have to reach out to Nick, who can reach out to Keith to see by some way chance he might have some old copies of this. He's moved to Canada. Oh gosh, I want to say a decade ago. So I doubt he has any of this stuff there. But just a little interesting insight to how baseball was played here 30 years ago.
Yeah, it would even be lovely if we could somehow get him on the show at some point to talk about back in those days. If you have any way to contact him, it would be nice if we could somehow get him on to chat about it and see if he has any memories he wants to share from those days.
Well, so I asked Glenn about that because he's come on, obviously, my other show, Teen Tops, to talk about his baseball card collection. Yeah. And he says he has no memories of that because it was almost 40 years ago. So I was like, hey, he goes, you really have to jog some memories out to actually go and do that. So maybe, you never know. Keith might have more stuff he remembers. Yeah. I mean, I've forgotten more baseball than I can remember these days. So
baseball in the last 20 years has been kind of a booze-soaked anything goes environment. So I can only imagine it was like 30 years ago.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, if it was a Scottish league, that means they weren't traveling much. So I think originally they went back to the BBF in the late 90s because they needed better competition. I mean, I think that was the reason why everyone kind of switched back. Okay, we'll do the 5-hour drives to go and play the Liverpool, the Manchester's, the whole. And but yeah, just really interesting that baseball was played in Perth. I mean, that's the first I've heard of anyone playing baseball in Perth. And there clearly was even a store that carried baseball boots. I mean, who would have guessed? Yeah.
No, I know a baseball shop in Scotland is something that you just wouldn't imagine being a reality in this day and age. That was a great segment, though. We should try and revisit stuff like that as much as we can moving forward because I really enjoyed learning a wee bit about baseball in Scotland in the early 90s. Who would have thought that we would have a chance to do that? Got some more comments here. Our buddy Stuart Anstead is thrilled to see you repping the Giants.
Hey Stuart, how you doing tonight?
Yeah, baby, his exact words. So another post here from the Breakers. Diamonds was also the name of the AM football team back then. There is a promo video that is not to be missed. So Glasgow Diamonds, American football team. We'll share that onto the page later on. Simon McClelland comments, I remember meeting you at the Fields when you were filming it. One of my few visits back. I think that's referring to Stealing Second.
Stealing Second, yeah. And I'll ask the guys if we can put that up on YouTube. I know I've got one clip where I just clipped my stuff there, but the whole it's a 12-minute clip. And I'll ask them if it's okay if I can upload the whole thing. And I think it might even be up there now because it's been a few years. And I will definitely share that with you guys.
Yeah, that would be great. And David Farr's commented, actually, it was 1996 that Dundee Dragons youth won the British Pony League Championship. So there you go.
Well, there you go. Yeah. No, see, we need to get Davey on. He can fill those gaps for us. So.
Yeah, I think Davey actually played on Sunday.
Oh, did you not know? Were you not sure?
Well, he pitched to me, so. Yeah, the velocity doesn't seem to have gone away. Still throws quite a bit of gas, from what I can see.
Oh, see, maybe we'll have to go and suit up one of these games. So I've actually never faced Stevie. We always played the same teams. So
I've always said it, that it's inevitable that you'll be back. I've said it since
it's not going to happen. You keep asking. As I said, both teams are very stacked. They don't need somebody to go and sit in right field and be like, back in my day, I used to pitch 300 pitches a game.
Listen, we don't have reserve clauses in this league. You could come and play for a Glasgow team. Just saying.
Highest bidder, right? 2 cans of Iron Brew, right?
Just saying, man. Like you could play for a Glasgow team. I mean, we've been teammates enough, so.
Like I say, I've already got that. You got to top that.
So I've got Pepsi Max.
Pepsi, nope, that won't do it. There's not enough sugar in there.
Half a bag of Doritos.
And funny enough, that bottle there is for Simon. So when he comes to the States, I've been saving this bottle of Iron Brew for Simon for 2 years when he comes to visit. So it's still here, Simon. Still waiting for you to drink. I'm pretty sure it hasn't gone bad yet. So
I'm pretty sure it hasn't gone bad yet. That's not. that's not very.
So this is the same conversation we had with Mark Donaldson. He gets real Iron Brew in the States. Simon gets real. Simon's in Florida. He gets real Iron Brew in the States, where we get the knockoff version of it.
Sons of bitches in the locker room.
Yeah, exactly. So, so you just have to be really nice to Simon and ask him to bring back some Iron Brew for you, so you can have the real stuff again.
Oh yeah. Now that you say that, now that you put it that way, he's not a son of a bitch at all. I don't know where that came from. I'm very sorry. Mr. Convoy comments, having seen Jason swing the bat recently, he'll be in the single A game.
Ouch! Ah, daggers in the heart. Oh man. Okay, there might have been a little rust there. I'm not gonna lie.
Listen, Gaffer. You concentrate on getting that website updated and leaving our podcast partner alone.
Oh man.
That's brilliant. I love that comment.
All right, I'm not going to live that one down.
Let's wind it down a bit because we have gone a wee bit longer than we intended tonight. Before we go, it is the 2021 Major League All Star Game tonight. Who do you have taking the victory in the Midsummer Classic?
Ooh, I'm going to say the NL is the NL Stadium. They're used to playing in Colorado, so I think just by advantage of the pitchers being there previously might give them that slight edge. I mean, it's All-Star game. I just hope they have fun. And I'm rooting for my Mariners, and I'm rooting for Taijuan Walker because he's a former Mariner, and I liked him last year. So I hope he gets into the game, gets to throw an inning. And I should be fun. I might try to watch a little bit of it. So who do you like? You going to go with the AL?
No, I'm actually in the same boat as you. To be honest, I think that top to bottom the NL has a bit more quality. So I expect that the National League will do well tonight. I think as well the All Star Game has the designated hitter, doesn't it?
Yes, yeah. We don't need any pitchers batting.
Yeah,
no way.
I think that always helps the National League. It gives a National League kind of top caliber player who might not get in as a starter the DH spot, whereas you might see an actual DH from the American League get in as DH from their side. So yeah, I think the designated hitter in these situations always plays in the advantage of the National League. Overall, I think they're just better quality.
Did any of the All-Star selections surprise you to the people that named the starting 9? Did you even know who the starting 9 is?
I haven't really watched a whole lot of baseball this year, so I can't say that the starting All-Stars are like overwhelmingly surprising to me. Like it just feels kind of, I see the names and none of the names jump out to me as being unusual. In terms of how good these guys have actually been this year, I'm largely kind of out of the loop.
So if I say Adam Frazier, you can tell me which team he plays on.
The Pirates.
Yeah, all right. Is that a guess, or did you actually just know that?
I knew he was with the Pirates. I just wasn't sure if he was still there because the Pirates are like your Mariners. They have a tendency to throw their best players at other teams.
Yeah.
Especially it's usually around this time of year, actually. But the Mariners are above 500 at the All Star break.
Yeah, we're doing all right. So
Yeah.
I'm not watching any games to not jinx them, because I know as soon as I start watching games, I'll jinx them again. So I just catch up on the next day.
See, I did that, and then I watched Garrett Cole's last start, and he pitched a complete game shutout, 329 pitches.
That's because he was able to hide that spider tack really well.
But then I watched on Sunday, and they blew a 5-run lead in the ninth. So I don't know. I'm probably just going to go back to not watching again.
Fair enough.
Let's have a wee quick look forward to this coming Sunday, and once again, I will get my schedule up. So here is a word from our sponsor.
Yes, Dugout Classics. Which way are you going there?
Which way are you? Are you that way or this way? I don't know.
Dugout Classics, your supplier of all Topps 2020 and 2070 Topps Project 70 cards. Only available for 70 hours. Yeah, I should have prepped for this one. This is not working out. But actually, I sell cards as well too. So if you're on Twitter or Instagram, I post them. I try to post them every day when I can, and there's some really cool ones there. So yes, I've been watching the orders come in as we've been on the show. So it's fantastic news. And yes, if you need any kind of baseball cards, I will point you in the direction of my buddy Graham, shout out Sports Cards, who does everything modern there, and he can hook you up with any modern cards. And when you need those junk era cards and you need those Mike Schmidts and Mark McGuire's and Canseco's, I'm the guy I talk to. So that's the best promo I can do for that one on this one.
Graham, who of course also is your Team Tops co-host.
He is my Team Top Show host, and so I'm actually going to have to go visit him on Thursday. So it'll be good to see him. So he's currently sunning himself at one of the holiday parks up in Aberdeen, and I will be joining him.
Fantastic! Yeah, it sounds like a good time. So this coming Sunday will be the 18th of July, and here's your full slate of games that's coming up. In Aberdeen, the Granite City, the Oilers are hosting your Glasgow Comets. That should be a good game. I think it's first versus second. No, it's not. It's not first versus second. I'm thinking of Devils. It's the Oilers and Comets.
Oilers and Comets, all right? Yeah, okay.
Now the second place Edinburgh Diamond Devils are actually in Glasgow, facing the Glasgow Galaxy in a game that should be a stonker. It should be an excellent baseball game between those two teams, and also the Tayport Breakers are visiting Edinburgh to face your Cannons. So that's the three games that we have coming up this Sunday, the 18th of July, and of course we will be back next Tuesday to talk about those and recap them.
And we have a potential interview lined up.
Yes, we do. We were supposed to have it this week.
But yes, they just got Wi-Fi installed yesterday, so so we're not gonna. So he's gonna confirm that he's good to go, but he wants to come on, and we'll have somebody you probably don't know that well, and it'd be good to get interesting stories out of him, and that's all I'm going to hint on for now. And once he agrees that he's available next Tuesday, then I will let you guys know who it is. But yeah, I'm excited to talk to this person. I think he's got a really interesting story of how he got involved in baseball.
Perfect. Thank you so very much to everyone who's watched tonight. The audio version will be out in the next day or two. It will be heavily edited, and we'll sort of some of the
what are you going to edit it out
from the video. Catch us on Facebook. It's facebook.com/Caps and Pipes. If you're watching the stream, you already know that. You can also find us on YouTube. Just search Ballcaps and Bagpipes on YouTube. You're on Twitter @Caps and Pipes. I'm on Twitter @JohnCapsPipes. He's on Twitter @Bubba on Baseball.
I'm not even going to go to all the handles I have.
Yes. And if you want to take a shortcut, you can just go to linktree.com/Caps and Pipes, which includes everything, including even Instagram and stuff. You can subscribe to us, follow us on any of the usual kind of podcast platforms, Spotify, iTunes, and the rest. And anchor.fm/Caps and Pipes is our homepage for the audio podcast.
So we do have some big news we were going to end on.
Okay.
So we are switching suppliers to stream our videos. So hopefully next week, all going well, we'll be on Facebook. We should be on Twitch and YouTube. So if you don't follow us normally on Facebook, we'll have it covered on the other two channels there. And please do like and subscribe for us to do that, because I think we need 100 followers. Is that what it is? To actually get a vanity URL for YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah, we need to get a few more people.
I don't know.
We need more than the 3 people there now. And I know we have more than 3, but yes, as soon as we get a certain amount of subscribers to our things, that means we can actually, instead of being a jumble of 20 different letters and numbers, we can actually be Caps and Pipes or Ballcaps and Bagpipes. So if you prefer to watch us on that, please do subscribe for that. It makes our life much easier. And then trying to explain, just go to Linktree and follow everything there.
That's big news. I'm looking forward to that. To my teammate Chris Kelly, I told you to watch this space, didn't I? Just this past Sunday, I mentioned to him because he was talking about YouTube and stuff, and he wants it to be more readily available elsewhere. So that's in the pipeline. If not this coming week, then certainly I think by the following week we will be doing a simulcast to all those different platforms and taking over the world. Jason.
Yes, eventually, one social media channel at a time.
Thanks so very much to everyone who's watched. Thank you for listening. If you're catching us on the audio stream, I've been John McKellar.
I've been Jason Derr. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Bobby Benia.
Bye.